Many thanks for joining us on Joy Asonye Live this beautiful evening. Today we will be spotlighting something very important. Experts have continually asked successive governments to look into agriculture as not just for food sufficiency, but to also engage the Nigerian youth. But with the many issues that are bedeviled in the agricultural sector, is it the kind of sector that young people will throng into? Well, that's the conversation we'll be having. Successive governments have tried to have agricultural initiatives for young people. Where has that gotten us? This president is yet again unveiling another initiative, this one now called the Green Money Project, powered by the Office of the Essay to the President on Agriculture. And that's what we'll be doing on today's edition of the program, getting to know what this Green Money Project is all about. How can young people get upskilled in agriculture? That industrialization conversation we'll be talking about. Would this be the one project we have all been waiting for? That's what we'll be discussing. You too would have an opportunity to discuss with my guest, who is the project coordinator of this Green Money Project, Charles Olufemi. Folayan, it's wonderful to have you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here. Always nice being in the studio here.
Oh, it's always wonderful to have you as well. It's almost as if when I see you, something is brewing. But it's good to have you in the studio. But at this moment, we'll just go for a short break to return to get into the conversation. The Green Money Project. What's that all about? We'll be right back. Welcome back from that. Like I told you earlier, we have Charles Olufemi Folayan, project coordinator of the Green Money Project. Well, I think you start with just telling us exactly what this new initiative of the president is, because Nigerians, a lot of them would be like, oh, here we go again. We've been here before, had this conversation severally before. What's this one about?
Yeah, I mean, when people hear about green money, so I feel like, are they distributing money? Yeah, but we are creating opportunity to wealth. The Green Money itself is a project designed to, take Nigeria into recognizing the meaning and the stance of the green in our green, white, green. As you are aware that the president of Nigeria, Tinubu, have ambitious plan to, create jobs for the young people, fight poverty, headlongs, and of course create wealth for the whole Nigeria to boost our economy, and of course create a country that all of us want to see. This ambitious plan, I can tell you, as captured in his manifesto, will be achieved majorly by agriculture. If you look at the plan, he has a robust plan for agriculture, for Nigeria to boost our production, encourage our exports, and of course make the country itself have food sufficiency, which also lead to food security, as against what we are currently facing, which is a food insecurity in country. This is why the Office of the Essay to the President on Agriculture, led by Honorable Abiodun Yunusa, designed a project called the Green Money Project. And the Green Money Project is designed to be implemented by relevant agency of agriculture in Nigeria, including the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and agencies, as well as even the Federal Ministry of Youth and Federal Ministry of Education. Currently, we have had partnership with all of these people. We are having a robust plan, and then we are launching out the Green Money Project as soon as possible. If I must mention that currently over 350,000 young Nigerians already applied
to be part of this
Green Money Project. And
how many number? What's the number?
Over 350,000 now.
350,000.
Yes.
Right.
So, what is the Green Money Project? The green, white, green in Nigeria, the Nigerian flag, the green stands for agriculture. And when you remember the time that Nigeria was doing very well in terms of economy, at the dawn of our independence, we are having much of our income and of course exchange from the agricultural products. Then we have the granule pyramid in the north, we have the cocoa production in the west, and call it so many things, oil palm in the east, and the rest of them. And it seems the oil came, and then I wouldn't say that we become lazy, but our attention shifts from focusing on agriculture into focusing on oil. And this does not only affect the government revenue alone, it also affects the Nigerian as people. and everybody was looking for something I can do and get paid, and agriculture seemed not to be attractive to people. And like we have also discovered that when you look at them growing up for us, parents will actually practically pray for children that I'm sending you to school for you to become lawyer, for you to become doctor, you know, accountant, and the rest of engineers, so you don't end up being like a farmer like me. So this alone has set a kind of you know, stigma into agricultural practices for young people. And we have discovered this. Look at the statistics available. The number of young people interested in agriculture is very low in Nigeria. The statistics by National Bureau of Statistics and even by, you know, African Development Bank, the average age of Nigerian farmers is above 50 years. So this is a matter of concern for us in a country that have a huge population of young people that are also unemployed. So it's just a bad thing for us to see the agriculture as a way forward. But how can we do this? So what this Green Money Project is said to do is to attract, train, and empower young people in agriculture. So attract in the sense that we need to also let the young people see agriculture as, you know, an enterprising endeavor, not necessarily you're just going to do it because you don't have options. So we are trying to look at that and then bring it into mechanization, technology, into agriculture. We can't leave young people right now to give them cutlass and hoe and say let's go into farming. That is not happening. Even in the country where agriculture is booming, they have gone mechanized. Of course, they have introduced technology into agriculture. You can see different machines that agriculture are using, from, you know, planters, harvesters, you know, even applying, using drone to even apply, you know, chemical to your seeds, and of course even in terms of seedlings. So what we are trying to do first is to let the young people see agriculture as something that should be of their interest, as something that is enterprising, as a means of a livelihood, and as a means of exchange. So once they have seen this, secondly, they see it as not practicing, you know, that whole system of agriculture, introducing things that make it more easier and more attractive for them, and of course train them on how to use all of these things to engage in it. It's not just about introducing them. Nigeria currently, our food insecurity is also being affected by the way we practice our agriculture. We need to introduce what we call climate smart farming right now.
Right. Precision
farming has to be introduced for young people to understand from the beginning to the end of how you can plant and harvest and what you should expect from it. So not that you're just going to the bush with cutlass and hoe and trying to struggle with it, and then you don't even know what comes out of it. And then be able to link them from the beginning to off-takers that will take up what they are doing. So when you have your product, people can come and off-take it. So this project is several in line. So I'm just trying to give a total background of what the Green Money Project starts from, and for young people to understand that agriculture, you know, is a way of developing ourselves, not a dirty.
I think young people in Nigeria already know the many benefits of engaging in agriculture, but there are fundamental issues that are facing young people when they even put themselves out there to be part of this. The mechanization you mentioned in the first place. We're having very intellectually savvy young people. We're having young people who really do not want to get their hands dirty, and that is where Nigeria's agricultural system is still playing at, where we still use cutlass and hoe. These are young people who are watching others, their contemporaries are remote controlling tractors and having wonderful irrigation systems that they can time, and you're asking us to come water in cans. So there are fundamental issues that must be addressed. I want to know how the Green Money Project hopes to navigate those issues first of all, because the awareness of it is actually there, the need for it. We see the food insufficiency and insecurity that we already have. So those fundamental issues, how is it addressing it?
Well, when you look at it first, the current administration is currently investing heavily into agriculture, and more to come. And why is to address some of these challenges you've mentioned. But for young people, the Green Money Project is basically concentrating on young people, because this sector, this segment of population have been identified to be reluctant about agriculture, like I mentioned, by statistics available. And young people, yes, there are some of the young people that are interested in agriculture, but there are a lot of basic challenges confronting them. Access to land is, a major challenge. Access to finance, understanding the agriculture itself, climate change, and weather view. So in what the Green Money is trying to do is to first educate young people about, agriculture. And when we are talking about agriculture, it's not just about planting of crops.
Of course.
We are going into livestock, and fishery, or going into planting of crops. We are taking young people in processing, not just the production now. We are looking at processing, packaging, distribution, and even export of agricultural produce. And of course, storage. Because all of these has been identified as major challenge for young people. And most importantly, what are they working towards? Which is linking them with markets, those who are going to offtake what they are planting or what they are producing, and all of these assets. So if you are trying to identify this first, what the Green Money is designing is first to be the data of young people that are interested in agriculture, which you are currently doing. Many people.
Before you go ahead,
yes.
how do you determine? Because there's a high level of unemployment at the moment. Any government initiative that comes, everybody wants to be part of it. So how do you determine? How do you vet the process to ensure that indeed the people that you are including in this database are indeed really interested in agriculture, and not those who would say, I really wanted to do something and this was available?
Yeah, so when you look at the portal of the Green Money Project, which is on the website, thegreenmoneyproject.ng, you have a number of questions to attend to, while applying. And then we have the details, including the NIN of the applicants. We look at the address, particular address where the applicant is. Are you currently a farmer, or you have interest in farming? Do you have lands to use for whatever you want to do? Is it for crop farming? Is it for livestock and fishery? Or is it for processing? Is it for packaging? Do you have a space for it? We look at this, and then of course subsequently vet them. So in attempt of asking your question, you are going to ask, have you benefited from any government previous agricultural program? How did you handle it? What did you do? All of that. Are you enrolled with the Bank of Agriculture? Are you enrolled with a nicer microfinance bank? A whole lot of this, because all of this, a lot of people are, claim to have benefited from government agricultural program. Portfolio
farmers.
We're not handing over funds or money in terms of cash to any young person. So I'm sure we're going to get into the way of describing what the project itself is to do. We understand your interest based on what you have inputted, into the application, and we take it up. So do you have land to farm and you want to do crop farming? We'll get, to your land, clear it for you, and then give you seeds that you need, give you necessary inputs that are needed for you to, fertilizers or other chemicals, things that you are needed to run the farm. And we're working with you with our extension workers. Extension workers are going to be there on the farm. So, but basically the pilot phase, we are first going to be putting the young people on a control farm setting, have them in clusters and make them to be able to farm, and we look at it together, we look at the produce and follow it up until we have harvest. So this is the first stance of it, which is like on the farm training. Yeah, on the farm training. Of course, national, but we're taking some states first. We're going to have some 10 pilot states, which is going to be announced. Yes. Right. However, right now, people are applying from every state. We are not stopping, we are not discriminating application. People can apply from all the states. When we take the pilots in, then another 6 months, the other pilots, the other states.
How many per state? How many people would be engaged in this first? What is your pilots?
In the pilots, first we are targeting at least 1,000 people per state.
Okay.
In the pilot, so at least 1,000 people per state. All of in the whole year, we are targeting close to 100,000 people. Not just in production, like I said. They are going to be segmented. Some will be on production, some will be in processing, some will be on packaging, some will be on storage, some will be on distribution of agriculture. So the entire value chain of agriculture is going to be covered by these young people. So everything we are doing, is going to be transparent for people to see. But basically what it is we are trying to also get the young people. So it's overwhelming for us. If you have more than 350, it's a news of joy. Let me say, not overwhelming really. For us to have young people, above 350,000 people registered to be part of agriculture, a program within a space of 1 month. Okay. But now that they have an interest to do that, it means, and when somebody was having conversation with us, why are they not the grassroots people? We say, yes, there are a lot of programs designed that are directly targeted at the people at the grassroots. But most people we are targeting are people who are possibly graduates, who have opportunity to be looking for a white collar job but have decided to do agriculture, not because they don't have job, but because they have seen it as a way forward. And of course we have some model farmers in Nigeria which are also going to be put into public soon. You see fantastic young people that are doing well in agriculture. You get to their farm, you'll be wow to see what is happening there in all different sectors of agriculture, to motivate others into what they want to do. So we understand that many of them challenges is in the issue of funding, the issue of availability of land, or no lack of access to land, and of course lack of access to input, lack of access to training itself. Because what is also very important in practice of agriculture in Nigeria as it is today, we are not yet there in terms of practice.
Okay.
We are not yet there in terms of standard practice. When it comes to standard practice, those who understand the field can attest to this fact I'm talking about. The time is gone. I mean, it's over when people will just be practicing agriculture just to plant on any soil and get yields of what you want. There needs to be practicality in soil test to understand what can grow here and grow perfectly. Exactly. And then it has to be a precision agriculture where you know what you are doing, the dates to apply this, the dates to apply fertilizer, the quantity you need to put, all of these things.
Kind of fertilizers.
Exactly. And of course we are driven into organic fertilizer. We know it's a huge challenge. While we are not saying, totally we are not going to use chemical fertilizer, we are also encouraging and working already towards improving and producing the production of organic fertilizer in Nigeria.
You seem to have like I don't want to say it's very noble, it's a noble goal, and I can also see that it's workable. Of course, I always say it's not rocket science, and even rocket science has been figured out. But I'm just looking at the whole value chain that you're going at the same time. So if you even pick snail fishery that you mentioned, or planting of vegetables alone, I sitting here feel like it's overwhelming. Do you have the resources? I'm not talking money again. I'm talking about personnel. I'm talking about capacity building resources to ensure persons as well, to ensure that all these value chains that you are churning out at the very same time would see fruition, so it doesn't look like you have too much in your hands and you're unable to grab them.
Thank you very much. That question is actually very important. It will be in the mind of so many people as well.
Exactly.
First, since March this year, the project has been conceptualized, and we have continued to engage partners. So as we speak, we already have those partners on board. The NISA, is providing technical, service for the project in terms of a model that can work for all the kind of value chain and where they can work. Then you have the Bank of Agriculture as well coming on board. You have other, banks from private sector interested in what we are doing also coming on board. We have them where they're having meetings with Nigeria National Agricultural Land Development Authority. We're having meetings, Nigeria Agricultural Development Funds. We've been having, several meetings with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, the Federal Ministry of Youth Development, and of course the Federal Ministry of Education. Because all of these people who have mentioned have a role to play in ensuring that the project succeeds. And of course the youth themselves are out there to be trained. So as it is, there are training centers. We are also targeting, federal universities, polytechnic colleges of education, and of course most of our federal agriculture colleges as well as the youth development center of the Federal Ministry of Youth Development as training ground for young people. So if you look at the value chain, it's also going to be public-private sector driven, because some of the processing plants that we're going to be partnering with are not owned by government.
Right.
So, but they're going to be playing their role in ensuring that these youths also get the kind of skills, the kind of knowledge they need in this agriculture, using their own plan, even while the government, will be planning to establishing such.
You just mentioned implementation partners such as NISA, that's the Nigeria Incentive-Based Sharing System for Agricultural Lending. That's NISA. You mentioned Bank of Agriculture as well. These are agencies of government that over the years have failed woefully in their youth initiatives for agriculture. What should give Nigerians the confidence that this partnering with them would give us that one project that will come to fruition?
Well, I may not agree that they have failed, or maybe I don't have the, the interest in rating their failure. But what you understand is they have not done enough. So because they have not done enough, that's why we are creating an initiative that we can work with them. Because when you look at the issue of agriculture in Nigeria, it is like every other issue affecting the country. Where there have been issue of corruption, there have been issue of, lack of strong monitoring and evaluation mechanism, which are the things that we are put in place. What I've not mentioned, or partially mentioned, is that we are doing so much in most of the things we are doing, introducing technology to drive them, including our MIE. Okay, so we are starting into, that's why if you look at the application, we are trying to attract young people that can interact with, computer to a certain level, or even their phone, using their phone, that can interact, that can answer questions. We are not setting out those who are at the grassroots that are practicing agriculture, but like I said, there are plans for them. Even in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, there are a lot of things targeted at them. But for this, we are more interested in young people. We're interested in young people that are basically educated or partially educated, that have other options, of what they want to do. Maybe it's not coming, or they shouldn't concentrate on that and do agriculture.
Okay, so I need to know this demographic,
Yes.
the demographics of
Yes.
it. When you say you're attracting young people, do they need to have little or no background in agriculture, or are these people who would have studied or in one
something related to agriculture?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a must that they should have they should study something related to agriculture. What we need is their interest in agriculture. And what we're also trying to say is that agriculture is everyone's business. Even as a journalist that you are, there's nothing that stops you from practicing agriculture, maybe at your backyard or somewhere close to your house.
You will be surprised. You'll be surprised that at my fish pond,
so those are the things.
A fish pond of
those are the
over
things.
2,000 fish. So
those are the things we are looking at.
Right.
However, we're not just looking at that. We want you to do it and succeed. We don't want to hear a story that I try to
would I fall into this category of young people?
Yeah, of course, like we are put on the system, if you are less than 40 years, and of course you have at least school cert, you fall into the category of people we are targeting, in this first phase of this project. And like I said, we are trying to make people not just to practice agriculture, but to practice and succeed. There's no point practicing something and you don't get it. It's heartbreaking when you hear a story, I would have continued, but I tried to rear chicken, I bought 100, and then, almost all of them die in the process. Something went wrong. There was no adequate training. There was no adequate preparation for them. So not just because everybody is doing something, you jump into it. There must be training. That's why this project itself is starting with training. People will be trained, and they are not just classroom training. They are on the farm training that will last for 6 months.
Okay. As long as 6 months.
Yes. It's on the farm training that will last for 6 months. For young people, the area you have an interest, you're going to focus in that area, and then we train you. And like you mentioned, other people go into areas of processing, packaging, storage, and distribution, which are not in the same category of training. If you are doing production, you face that production, and then you be trained on that. So if you are doing processing, yes, you specialize on that. So that's what the Grow Money project is targeting at doing. But the most important aspect of this project is that young people will be empowered after training sustainably, and we are deploying model that are already working. So when we know that there are a lot of agency of government that has run into challenges over the time. However, we will not, because of their challenges, and not work with them. They have the structure, and some of them currently are also undergoing serious reforms. Looking at the areas where they have had those challenges over the years, and how government can reform them, because you can't throw them away. You have to look into what we can do differently. And for us, we are working with them as partner, while we are holding the monitor and evaluation of the project to ensure it succeeds. We are following it up to the letter. So it's not going to be run like a usual government thing where young people just feel that, it's government. The mentality itself has to change. That is government thing, so whether I do it or not, nothing will happen. No, there are consequences here. You're not having access to funds. So if you don't do what you are doing for, you are the one losing, because at the end of the day, you are the one that will not have the harvest. So it is when you are giving.
I think you have to hold up. When you say you will not have access to funds, so after the training, funds are disbursed, is that what you mean?
Okay, so this is it. When you don't have access to physical cash,
right,
everything you need during the training, except the stipend that you are being given.
Oh, there's a stipend
being given during the training. But that you are going to be given 5 million or 10 million to go and farm? No. What we are doing is, what do you need? You need land, here is land. You need input, here is input. All right? You need it to be cleared, here, we are clearing it for you. You need something to be planted, here is this. You need to be guided, we have extension worker guiding.
How are you able to do all that? Okay, are they still going to be working in clusters? Is that how it's going to work?
Yeah, so like I've mentioned training and empowerment. The training aspect comes while they are in the farm training in clusters. After the training, I will feel that you have done what you know what you're doing. You're going to be empowered, which means you shift to your own farmland, where we're also coming to cultivate for you, to clear for you, do it, and then you harvest. That is clear. So for the training, we are doing it as cluster. But after the training, the young people will be empowered to go and start their own farms.
So they do not necessarily need to have lands.
No,
is that what you mean?
Of course, we provide land for those who need lands.
You provide land for land. You would do the clearing.
Yes, we do the clearing and apportion your own land to you to face it.
Wow, this is a good place to go for a short break. We're still discussing the Green Money Project of the President, an initiative that the essay on agriculture that Abiodun Yunusa introduced. But we'll be right back. There's still so much to discuss to understand how this initiative works and how you too can be part of it, and how we can all join hands to get that food security we keep talking about. We'll be back after that. Remember that phone lines will be open for you too to contribute. We'll be back to discuss more. Welcome back from that. We're still discussing something so important, talking about the President's Green Money Project, and we had gotten the conversation to where it would ensure that it does work. I mean, he has talked about the target demographic. You too can be part of this. You don't need to have preliminary information around agriculture, just as long as you have the drive. He has talked about the skills development that will be part of this entire project, where young people would be put in clusters, right? Clusters, and taught these necessary skills that would enhance them, and then there are off-takers as well, which is the most important part. But I want you to elaborate on the financial support mechanisms that you have. You had talked about stipends. While that might be very exciting for people, but I just want to have clearly what it means. So are you going to lodge young people when time comes? Have you worked all that out yet? Are you going to just give them stipends to attend these classes? You said it's a 6-month-long program.
Depends on your type of
depending on the type of agricultural sector, subsector you want to go into. But yes, let's talk the finances part.
Okay, so when you talk about the stipends, is basically we want the young people to have the understanding that for every business you do, you have opportunity to spend and opportunity to save. So in a way, all what we are trying to put into Green Money Project are going to be factored in the cost of production. So when we are giving the opportunity for young persons to come to farm for training, you have stipend for 6 months, for example. I don't want to mention figure.
At least not now. I understand you don't want to mention
that
figures.
Is part of your cost of production, actually. Because we don't want you to be, in the farm and you're hungry and you can't feed your family, you can't do anything, and that's what you're engaging in. So even the cost of training, because the training is on the farm training, you're also working towards production, even at that training. There's extension worker monitoring what you're doing, pull this one, this is how you do it, this is how you do this, but you are actually the one doing it. So you have that. The cost of your input, is also part of the cost of production. So when we now have the harvest and we take the product, we look at all what has been spent on your cost of production to what result of what you have gotten, and then we take that off. You have the rest as what you have worked for in the last 6 months. All right, so that's why I said they have, every young person into this program has something to lose if you are not serious with it. If you think you just come into to play. And of course, your stipend is also subjected to your punctuality, to attendance in the farm and all of that. So
really?
it is not that you just come and say, because my name has been there, you see, I'm just going to be collecting money. We know that a lot of things has happened like that in terms of young people in Nigeria. There have been programs where people will tell you, I don't need to go to anywhere, I'm receiving.
I'll sit here and receive that money. And in truth, it really has happened. A lot of people have really sat back and just received money.
But that's not helping the young person himself, because that money will stop someday. And when it stops, what do you have to do for it? But for example, for somebody who is working on the farm, you see, there is a joy when you have knowledge about something. That alone will start driving you. You feel that you have something you can do. The more young people have learned about agriculture and agribusinesses, the more they have passion and interest in it. It's only, that's the discovery. But because people have not been shown, they have not been having opportunity to actually go into this. Some people have been frustrated trying to go into agriculture because there's nobody to help at the time that the finances were not coming, at the times I couldn't longer afford, it breaks down. This alone discourages. So but what we are trying to do is to put you on the training, have stipends from the time that you are there, so it's like you're working, but understanding that all of those things will factor into your cost of production, and of course what you are going to yield, the harvest, is also where you're going to subsidize what you have spent. So you know that it's an enterprise, it's a business that you are doing, and you must be profit. And when you don't do well like somebody, you see somebody who is more serious than you, is going to reflect at the end of the harvest. So, but what we are trying to also do is to introduce in a way that young people will have interest. It's not just make them feel like you have to suffer for it. You need to go to what young people are facing. A lot of young people that are actually into agriculture, a lot of them need help already.
Of course.
A lot of them that are into agriculture are doing some things and are struggling for it to make sure that produce. So we want to take that off their neck. Since you are doing it and you're serious about it, then take it. And it's not just meant for people that are not yet having the knowledge of agriculture. Those who also are into it and having challenges, you can be trained. And let me see, we are also concerned about even the quality of foods that we are producing as people as a country.
Okay.
Understanding the quality of our foods are not where we should be, even the international market. So, and we shouldn't just be concerned about the international market. If you have seen people, they will tell you that the level of toxin in our beans is very high, because there have been indiscriminate application of chemicals even during the crop production, or even the storage. In the
storage especially, you hear them tell you weevils and other, and there's been no organic ways of dealing with this.
So this alone has to do with the health of the people consuming the food. So if you don't even talk about the international market, what about the people consuming the food as Nigerians? We need to also work on that. And so many other crops are veggies, so many other things. So when we are introducing this, we are also working with experts that I have not mentioned across board, private sectors, experts into agriculture, those who are into precision, those who are into organic fertilizer, organic storage, all kind of experts are working with us on this project to ensuring that what we are pushing out there, and our extension workers will also be well trained to know what they are doing, and their training is also ongoing, because we are having reports, we are having conversation, we're using technology to monitor what everybody will be doing. So by this, you know exactly what you're doing, and the young people can see agriculture in the light that it should be, not those things that people that have no option in the villages are doing. And that is exactly where we are, thanks to a lot of young people that are doing fantastically in agriculture in Nigeria. But when you look at many of them, they have privilege to have access to some funds, to be able to do this. And something sad, one of the issues that we are trying to also work on is an average farmer in Nigeria is, it's very difficult for an average farmer in Nigeria to access loan, even in the commercial banks, even in the Bank of Agriculture. So there are a lot of things that the government is also trying to do to simplify the loan processes. But it's not just about the loan. When you give people loan and they don't have the requisite knowledge of applying that loan, they will finish that loan and become more poorer, because becoming poorer, because when you don't have debt to pay, you are managing your life. So now when you have debt to pay, you are poorer. So it's not just about introducing loan. How today you apply this loan? Can they make it work? And these are the basics that we're talking about.
So I would like to know the scalability of this, considering the potentials of what you're saying. So after the first phase, where you say, you know what, 6 months is over, this is what, because they are working and learning, right? And this is the proceeds from agricultural proceeds. You would off-take that. That's what you just said. You off-take these crops or whatever the proceeds or the final products are. But what happens to recycling or repeating that process?
Okay. Basically, for example, we are putting in 20,000 people for the production at a go. Okay. Once those 20,000 people are done, another 20,000 people will be on board for the program. So
what happens to the first 20,000?
So the successful one, and I'm making it clear, because it's not just that because you register and you're part of it and then you have gone training. It's like a school. If you don't do it well and you are not successful in the practice, nobody will put funds on you. You need to repeat the class. Do you understand? So, but for those people who have done it successfully, they are going to be empowered. And that's what I mean by the empowerment now is to now apportion your own farm for you. If you have land, we go to your land and do that for you. If you don't, we give you land. So what we are also working, we are working already with, like I mentioned, the Federal Ministry of the Federal Ministry of Education and all of that. And we're working with private farmers or private landowners who are willing to use those land for agriculture. Nigeria have millions of arable lands that have not been used, and then we have millions of population that are not going to agriculture. So what we are trying to balance is to put those things together. Where are those lands? Where are the people that wants to work on it? What do they need on that land? Then we do it for them. Land clearing is a lot of jobs, and like I said, the National Agricultural Land Development Authority is involved in this project, and we're putting in place to look into the land clearing and other agencies that has to do with clearing of lands. So while we are doing that, so when this first phase has gone, we'll board to another set of people until we can achieve millions of young people who are practicing agriculture successfully. Link them with with local and international markets.
So we have a caller. Let's just quickly. Okay, I think the network didn't let us have that. If you can conclude your thoughts, so you can keep the calls coming. Let's
link them
have a proper
like I mentioned. Link them up with markets, and this market is to understand that everybody's interested in food. People are interested in bread. People are interested in pizza. People are interested in yam, rice. You have seen them, but we have to also have interest in where they are coming from.
True.
So you understand that most of these things you have interest in are from the farm produce. So what we need to do is to connect it in a way that you can have them to the next people that need. A lot of young people are actually into processing. I'm sure you are aware. If you go into you see people into food, and when you ask them, many of them are not interested in the farm. They're not interested. They just want to buy those things and process them into finished products. But we need to make them have interest in the farm, because we can't continue to even import things that we can grow in our country.
So where do you take the produce to? I mean, you say you off-take, you take it off the
Okay, so when I mean by off-take, you see there are settings of off-takers that we're also working with.
Okay.
So these off-takers will not necessarily mean government. Okay. However, there are government agencies that are also off-taking agricultural products. Of course, they partake in that. But we're also giving, space for private sector that are interested in what we're doing and they want to off-take. So when they off-take, they process into whatever the value chain is going for. In that case, there are other young people working with them in that processing. Okay, and then storage, like I mentioned, and then distribution. So we must see the end of those products and what they are turning into. The value chain is also as important to us as the production. When you look at cassava value chain is wild. A lot of people can know what you can use cassava for.
From
see
the
many
stem
products
to the leaves,
yes,
every single part of cassava is
most
important.
of these things we have not really gone into. Look into them and how they can help our economy. And now that we have challenges within the system, we must look inward. Even while we are even looking out, we must look inward to see what we can do. And like we said, the issue of economy is a business of all Nigerians. You only need to know what role can I play and what is something that is stopping me from playing my role, and then you have support to play that role efficiently, and that is what we are driving out.
Okay, so I just want to know about your community engagement, because I would like to know how the initiative, the Green Money Initiative, intends to engage local communities. in ensuring the cultural relevance is widely accepted, because you know how we can be. You're coming into a community. Every single place you're going to mention is someone's community. So what's the engagement like to ensure that they do not thwart your good intentions? Because I have seen many times when projects, no matter how beneficial you sit here to think it will be for the for the community or the entirety of the nation, some community head and will be like, nope, not for us, take it away from here.
Well, I was also expecting that you mentioned the issue of insecurity. But I'm coming to the insecurity. Let me talk about the community first. You see, the most important thing about this project is also that, or one of the most important things is that every community have their indigents. All of us are citizens of Nigeria, and they are the first beneficiary of this. Most of the farms that are located will make people that are in those communities or around those communities are the people that will be trainee and participant of this project in that place. So first, it is like helping your community and helping the people. And when that happens, the community will not see you as coming as a stranger into their community. They see it as you coming to do something that is important for us. And we're of course consulting widely with the traditional rulers, looking into aspects of what we are doing. Even though the oil region has challenges of drilling and all of that, so there will be pockets of challenges. But we're also, working with necessary stakeholders to ensure that that can, take. And then when you not just jump into someone's land and claim it, no. What we are doing is collaborations with people. You have land, you are giving to us a collaboration. That alone is you bringing part of what is needed to agriculture, and you have your fair share of the product of that. So community engagement is critical in what we're doing, which is something that is currently ongoing and it will continue ongoing. If you look at some of the things that have been on the internet, you see the essay to the president engaging communities, talking to them about agriculture, talking to them on agriculture, talking to different various communities. He has been visiting communities, some of the community where we are working with in terms of the land, talking to them about why we should know that the challenges of food security will not be solved by the president. It's going to be solved by Nigerians. All we need is the support of the president and the government to ensuring that what we need to participate in helping the states and helping ourselves is, they are provided for us. So that is ongoing, I can say. And basically, we are hoping for better, for improvements.
Okay, so let's quickly pick this call. Hello there. Good evening. Very well, thank you. Can you hear us?
I'm hearing you clearly.
Okay.
Is this Kaftan?
Yes, this is Kaftan TV. Joy Asonye Live. What's your question?
Hello.
Can you hear us now? We can hear you clearly from here.
Hello.
Okay, you might have to call us back so that maybe call us back. It will probably get better.
Say again.
Can you call us back? Maybe the network will get better. Okay. For some reason, the network has been. We can see calls coming in, and I hope that you keep trying, and maybe we'll just have that one conversation. We have another caller. Hello there. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, it's much better. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Oba. I'm calling from Abuja.
Okay. What's your contribution to the call? What we're saying?
I didn't start the program with you and your guest. So I joined a couple of minutes ago, but I heard none of what he said. So if what I'm going to ask here said, so just indulge me, but possibly 3 questions.
Okay, go ahead quickly.
One,
right.
It's talking about young people. Who are the young people?
Okay.
I don't know your guest definition of young certainly will be different from mine. Even though we have international standards, UN and whatever to describe young.
Right.
How do you define your own young people? That's question one.
Okay.
Number 2, is it only about the young? I am talking to you. I've had this country for 35 years. I'm a senior citizen. I'm tired. I even have a garden at the back of my house. So I am interested in agriculture and contributing to end food insecurity. So how do you factor someone like me into it? Because I'm still an
True.
not only young people that are.
True. And
lastly,
right.
very important. You said something about okay, this is what you need to do. You'll be trained, you'll be given land, you'll be doing whatever. I believe all of those will be capitalized. Because it's talking about after the end, when you are less, make our own money. Now, how do you deal with insecurity? You haven't said anything like that.
Okay, so we're just getting that conversation.
I'm concluding. The major reason farming, and we already have it, let's not deceive ourselves, in the country today is insecurity. Farmer has mental and it's all over the country now. How do you factor that? Because you give me loan, you clear land for me, you give me crops and all of that. When I now finish, how will you ensure that no one who didn't know what I suffered to get to the point I am, they just reap the benefits? Thank you.
Very good questions, I must say, but just stay tuned. We would continue the conversation. We're just getting that conversation to the insecurity part of the challenges farmers face, but we'll get to, and he will answer your questions shortly. Thank you so much for calling.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, first of all, I mean, you had mentioned what the youth demographic is, but maybe you should mention it again. And if so, why just youth? And how can you infuse someone like him who is a senior citizen into the program? Again, we get to the insecurity that has bedeviled farmers, which has brought us to where we are in the first place. So those are good questions.
Okay, so
you have to be fast because we really have.
Okay, so the issue, for the sake of this project, young person are people between the age of 18 and 40 years. And just why young people? Every project have its own mission and vision. The challenge we currently have is a lot of
I think we can take one more question before we close. Hello there, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, you are. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Mr. Iko, okay? Okay, so thank you very much. We really are running out of time, but he will respond to you quickly. How can he be part of this initiative? But
okay, so that you can be part of the initiative by visiting the website at www.thegreenmoneyproject.ng.
Thegreenmoneyproject.ng.
The information is there. You can send us email. You can send us, you can make a call or send a text.
Right.
Secondly, is that the young people I mentioned are people under 40 years who are interested in agriculture, because they are the ones right now, by statistics, that are having disinterest in agriculture.
And
the
energies.
People, others, doing well in having agriculture as, either as a second job or as a main job. But for young people, even those who are jobless or those who are unemployed, have not peak interest in agriculture. We want to change that trajectory.
Okay.
And of course, he mentioned about the issue of insecurity.
First of all, how can you infuse someone like him? He has served the Nigeria for 35 years.
We have those of the people like him that are mentor to young people, resource persons. That's what I said, that those who knows that they have something to offer the project, please feel free to contact us. Even when they are not young person, they will be the people who are going to onboard you as trainees, but they have other roles to play.
So the insecurity part.
The insecurity, yes. I'm not going to give a basic strategy we're using in that, but of course we have factored that in from the beginning, and I can assure you that we're going to show a level of difference in terms of securing the people that are working in those farms and the farm itself, and people can see that. That's why we are first doing, of course, control farm that are basically in
certain areas that are safe.
However, we want everywhere to be saved, and as we are going, we're central everywhere, but we are bringing in strategy to also guide, which I may not be able to be narrating here. So you don't give your strategy out for somebody to prepare for you. Thank
you so much for that. For those who may have more questions, it's It's already written on the screen right there. The green money project, rather, the green money project.ng. That's the website you can click on and get more information. He and his team are always there to give you the responses that you may need. But we have really come to the end of this program, today's edition of Joy Asonye Live. I must thank the project coordinator, the Green Money Project. Thank you so much for coming to the program.
Thanks for having me. My pleasure to always be here.
It's my pleasure to have you as well. Charles Olufemi Folayan, it's always my pleasure. And I am Joy Asonye saying thank you for being part of today's edition. Rest assured, we'll be back tomorrow, but have a restful evening.